Looks like we're live. There's a bit of a delay. What's up, everybody? I don't know if you can hear us and see us.
It's like that old Verizon commercial.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Admittedly, having some technical difficulties here. It says concurrent viewers 3. I don't know. We'll give this a couple minutes here. What's going on? We have at least one person in here. So bear with us. There's some delay between me and the video I'm seeing on the screen. So we'll get started here shortly. How come it doesn't tell me who's in the room?
I don't know. Was there like a sidebar over there?
Here we go. Participants. It's only one. Who are you, HCC 8860?
Reveal yourself.
There we go. Pop out the chat. Andrew. What's going on, Andrew? Is the audio okay? Is the video okay? Admittedly, this is our first live stream. I see Tom is responding to the post on Patreon, so we'll give it another minute here to get some more people in here. I don't want to start too early and people who are trying to make it in miss anything. Slight delay, but not bad. Slight delay from the audio to the video. Still only
Andrew
in here. Kevin McMahon. Thank goodness Rob moved. He looked like he was digitally frozen on the screen. Glad to have you, Kevin.
I'm Zen.
Okay. Andrew says the delay is he said he wouldn't know. Just takes a second for the chat to go through. That's something I found on a lot of these live streams. It's weird because I'm looking at the screen here and it's not lining up with what I'm saying at the moment. Should we be on Patreon or YouTube? Click the link. I said, sorry guys, don't mind our ineptitude.
Yeah.
You guys got the right idea, Andrew and Kevin. Says the stream status is excellent. I guess I shouldn't have posted it the way I did on Patreon. Waiting for at least Tom, Trade Maid, and Jerry I know are coming on there. It's like they're migrating over from Patreon. From the Patreon page, if you click on the lower right of the YouTube logo and select watch on YouTube, you can get to the unlisted video and do the chat. Yeah, that's what I figured. If you clicked it, it would bring you straight here. Kevin, I guess I was mistaken. Okay. Well, if you're watching on Patreon, I can't see you. I can only see Kevin and Andrew. Jerry's here. And Tom's here. Okay. Sorry, guys. You know, we're woodworkers. We're not. And Andrew's here. Let's can't figure out this high tech stuff. Yeah, let's give it to 1:15, then we'll get started, just in case anybody else floats in. I don't want anybody to miss out on on the whole deal. So
grab your snacks.
Yeah, get your popcorn ready. Beer of the week. Let me see. Let me pop out this chat. That way I can minimize this. I can get this over here. It's pretty confusing trying to see. I can pull up my display. See if I can share the screen with you guys and oops. Share the screen with you guys and show the spreadsheet and whatnot. Bear with us. We're flying by the seat of our pants. But you guys know that. I need a little footstool. Andrew's drinking Lagunitas.
Ooh.
All right, we're getting close here on time. 2 minutes till takeoff. 1 minute till takeoff. Let's see if I can turn my computer a little bit so Rob can see it as well.
Oh, look at that. Look at those two guys.
Sorry for the awkward silences and the blank stares at the computer.
Just like being at home.
Yeah.
Awkward silence, blank stare.
I don't know where my freaking Chrome page went.
That's the chat box right there.
Yeah, but I had a Chrome page too. That's the only window? Oh, okay. But we open a new one. Yeah, this one. No. That one? Yeah. Where'd that go? I don't know what I wanted to get in there anyway for. All right, guys, 1:15. We'll get started here. So yeah, welcome to the first of hopefully some more smoothly operating live streams.
Yeah.
We're running through OBS, which is the program we use for the podcast, going to YouTube. So there's a bit of a latency. So you might notice that, but I'm gonna try and figure out how to drag this in and share the screen with you. Only thing is, like, it's showing this, and I'm gonna have to minimize this somehow. But I guess if I go like this and then I go down, I can pull the things over. Let's see. For now, put that down here. So yeah, I guess you have the first. So if you're looking at the syllabus, Rob and I sort of split these up, so we'll go back and forth, and I'm sure we'll both have things to add.
We'll have a discussion throughout, but it'll be one person sort of like reading the questions, like almost in the podcast. So we're gonna go through every step from the time somebody rings us to the time we make our proposal to the prospective client.
Yep.
At that point, that was because we did get a bunch of inquiries as we were doing our podcast, and folks wanted to know, well, how do you do this and how do you do that? And we had little streamlined ways to price stuff.
Yep.
And so for those that are in business, there might be some redundancy, but we're going to approach it as if you're just a guy in your garage or a gal, and you're making you have a product, you have your widget, and you're trying to figure out, how do I start selling these things and what do I do? So we're going to really start right at that phone call or email. It used to be phone calls. That's the way we used to get most of our initial communications. But generally speaking, somebody's going to drop us an email. And something that I always like to start off with is, what do we do before that? Even we have to have some kind of idea of who we are as a company. We know what we're going to say when somebody's calling us. We know the things that we do well, things that we don't do well. We know how we want to place ourselves in the market and things like that. So all these things, deserve some thought and consideration before that phone even rings. Because if somebody calls up and they want us to make a squirrel feeder, we probably, we already know we're not making a squirrel feeder.
Yeah, it's that sort of branding and creating, like you said, a company identity.
Yeah, or even something closer to the truth is we've had people call us and want us to do like an inexpensive MDF build,
Right.
which we're capable of, but we've decided we're just not going to put our name on that kind of stuff because that's not our thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you should take that into consideration. So we get that first email. Then what do? We have our first impression. We always want to be professional as much as possible. You know, we're just two guys here in the shop. Sometimes the phone rings and the machines are going, but you want to give people the time of day. That's really it. You want people want to feel like they're important always. So I would say that's probably the most important thing. Somebody contacts you, you want to make them feel like they're valuable.
Yeah. Yeah, and we come from the service industry, so
that's it.
It's always about the experience for the client
Mm-hmm.
from the second they walk through the door.
Yeah. You and I both worked in the restaurant field, and that's a service industry too. And we take a lot of cues from our time doing that stuff.
Yeah. Even before they walk in, it's, when they call to make a reservation. So this is sort of the same idea. When this person makes this first contact with you, you got to, treat them the very best you can right from the very get-go.
Exactly. And, one way to do this consistently is to establish some routines. And that way, again, just like the restaurant, each time you make a certain entree, it's supposed to come out the same. So everybody can enjoy the same thing. We want to develop routines, consistency, and you guys can all develop that on your own. What works for you. And it's important to get that information right off the bat, right?
Mm-hmm.
If somebody emails us, we can save that email. But say like Jeff gets a phone call, what do? You ask them, their name, their number. And something I like to always ask them is, how did you hear about us? Where'd you get our number? Because we don't really have our phone number floating around out there.
Yeah.
So a lot of times that's going to be a referral, and those are probably the best kind of initial phone calls to get. And I like to ask folks, are you familiar with our work? Because that'll tell me if they kind of know what to expect.
Yeah.
So we got our first impressions. We got the importance of establishing routines and consistency and the gathering of information. Somebody calls, we still want to get folks to that questionnaire, which is going to be the next big topic.
Right.
But some folks, they got you on the phone. They want to talk. They want to pick your brain. And it's important to not rush them through that process. You could still get that information, get an idea what they're looking for, and going backwards a step to the routines. We're writing it down because Jeff and I are both here. So it's important if I do something, Jeff has a question, I can refer back to it and fill them in.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little different when I was here by myself. Things were written on all kinds of little scraps of wood.
They still are sometimes.
That's right. But we have responsibilities now. And the end result is still to always direct folks to that new client questionnaire, which is something. Where did we hear about that at first? Is that?
So I picked that up at Workbench Con from this guy, John Malecki. You guys probably know who he is. He's a big woodworker, I guess you would call him.
Yeah.
A content creator.
But it's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
And that's ultimately where we want people to wind up from the first time even if they call us, even if we talk to them, even if we know they're looking for a bedroom set or a kitchen and they live in Holmdel and they have a budget of $30,000, we still want them to go through that process of filling out the questionnaire. Mm-hmm. It's a really good thing for us to have on hand, and it helps people themselves go through the process and really get their ducks in a row.
Yep.
Is there anything we could use to embellish this first
I don't. I mean, I don't think so. This is the most basic,
Right.
sort of. This is just the dealing with that first phone call, basically.
Right.
The whole goal is to, just get a little bit of not FaceTime. I don't know what the hell you would call it. Phone time with the client, and get what little information you can to just wrap your head around the job enough where they can go to this new client questionnaire. And that's the place where you're going to get some good hard info.
Yeah, and as well as you can instill some confidence in the client.
Yeah.
That you know what you're doing, and that you're going to treat them right. Because that's what everybody's looking for in the end.
Right.
All right. So we're gonna get to number 2, which is the new client questionnaire, which is really almost the cornerstone of this whole thing.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try and bring up,
pull it up.
Yeah. Let's see where the hell to go.
Yeah. Well, this, a lot of that stuff in the first section, that's what we would call common sense, but it's always good, to reinforce those thoughts, even for ourselves. Let's see what we got here.
Somehow I lost the, let me just add another one here.
Okay. So if anybody's got any questions, type them in the sidebar. We can double back to them at any time and we can address them. What do you call that when the thing goes on forever?
I don't know. I don't like it though.
Did they see that too?
This is what everybody's seeing right now. So, is the goal to weed out the tire kickers with the questionnaire or start coaching, educating? Exactly, Kevin. So let's get into the new client questionnaire. What I'll do is I will actually bring it up for you guys.
Oh, that's what I thought you were doing.
Yeah, so now you should be seeing the screen. I can't see you, so if this is fucking up, we're going to have to figure it out. So, look at that. You guys just see I got a Woodcraft email. So here's our website, greenstreetjoinery.com. And over here at the top, at the contact us page. So we get a phone call from a client. Like Rob was saying, you want to get a little bit of info from them. I personally try not to get too much information because usually we're in the middle of something and I don't have time to be transcribing this stuff. And B, I don't want to waste any time with someone that's not worth the time. So I'm going to be cordial. I'm going to be polite and helpful, but I'm not going to do too much work up front. So what I tell them is, the way that we, ask, oh, what are you looking for? Where are you? Blah, blah, blah. They say, oh yeah, do you think, you give me a price? I say, so the way that we begin any job is you head over to our website, go up to the contact us page, and you'll see the new client questionnaire. You see here, looking for a quote. Every job begins with our new client questionnaire. We use this information to begin the design and estimation process. They click on the button, and it brings them to this. So this is a Google form that I just set up through our Google Suite. So new client questionnaire. All of these are required. Email address, name, address, the timeline. So we want to know, you need this thing in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Within the month? Or are you talking a year out from now? You're going to be redoing your kitchen and you don't even have an architect yet.
Sometimes it's not even possible for us to do it if it's unrealistic.
Right. What type of finish? So I want to know if they want something painted, stained, or a combination of the two. Please tell us about any specific functions of the piece. Are there certain special requirements that need to be met? A statue that needs to fit on a shelf, large holiday dinner plates that need to fit within a cabinet, tall books, etc. So this is where they'll say, so it's a table and we need to seat 8 people and it needs to fit in a room that's this big. Are there any electrical or mechanical finishes that need to be integrated into the piece? What kind of style? We get a lot of times we get, I don't know. Are there any dimensional limitations?
Yeah.
Like it says here, if you don't own a tape measure, please estimate and note as an estimation. And the most important question, what is your budget? I thought I had on here, where'd you find us? But yeah, I had to add that back in. What is your budget? So this is a very important question because we can't do the job if you can't pay for it. So
yeah,
there's a floor to the price. We can only go so low. It's just
right. It's not like elitist
no
thinking. It's just what's realistic.
Right. Let me see. Let me pop up the chat window and you just make sure you guys are seeing it.
Like, what do you say, Jeff, when somebody says, how much did it cost for you to build a kitchen? Go to the new client questionnaire.
Exactly. You just see, make sure that everybody can see the screen. Yep. Okay, cool. So this is the new client questionnaire that's on our website. And so what are the important questions? They're all super important. The most important really, really being that budget, because the whole idea behind the new client questionnaire is to weed out these people that are, like you said, Kevin, tire kickers, or, people that just don't fit into the budgetary constraints of our type of work.
Yeah.
And, mileage may vary. So it's all up to you and what you're making and what you've set your prices at. If you're a hobbyist and this isn't your full-time gig, then you don't have to charge as much and you can be more lenient. And there may be questions like if you make a certain type of thing that are more relevant for you that you can plug and mix and match in here. So go here. So here we are inside of Google Docs. I don't remember exactly how you get into here, which is probably something that
Oh, that's through your Google account.
Yeah, so I think you just go to your Google Drive. Okay. So you guys are seeing this. You go to your Google Drive, you hit new, go to Google Forms, and you can do one from a template or a blank form. I think I just did a blank form. You can plug in your logo up here, and you can edit all your things here. You can click on this, add a new question, multiple choice, short answer, paragraph, drop down, all kinds of different stuff. You can do it in a grid. You can, edit the titles and add images, video, import questions.
Yeah, if they're watching this on a computer, they can do this.
Yeah. I mean, it's super simple. The other, and sorry, I got to look back at this because I'm talking and not remembering this outline that I made. So yeah, over here, so these are all the responses. I'm giving away our clients' email addresses here, but so these are all the people that have responded to the new client questionnaire. And look, we're still waiting for 4 responses. Look, one's me. I should get back to that guy.
He doesn't have the money. That much I know.
Let's see. You can actually now look at the analytics of these. So it gives all the addresses. This is a good tool once you have, a good amount of responses that you can look at this data and, really, glean some business insight from it. So what's the timeline of your project? Most people say 1 month.
Yeah.
So people are really waiting too long. 30% of people say 3 months. 10% say 3 to 6 months, and 15% say 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, most folks they start looking when they want it in their house,
Right.
And they think they could they're used to going to the store and just taking it off the shelf.
Mm-hmm. me just pop this up in case anybody's chatting. Okay. What type of finish do you envision? Most people are looking for stained. Now, I'd say that's maybe a symptom of who we are, and people just, coming to us. Because in reality, most people are usually looking for painted.
Yeah.
As a whole. Then, as you can see, it compiles all this information for you. 65% of people don't have any electrical or mechanical finishes being integrated. And the most popular style, 30% Japanese.
Huh.
We haven't really built anything Japanese style, but
I don't even remember anybody asking for that.
we can... Oh, no, sorry. I don't know.
I was going to guess
They're both purple.
I was going to guess.
Yeah, 30%, I don't know. 20% contemporary.
Yeah.
10% shaker.
What's traditional come in at? Is there a category traditional?
5%. You see, we don't have a ton of responses on here, mainly because we're a two-man operation. We don't have a ton of work that flows through the shop just because of the nature of how long it takes. And B, some people don't even ever make it to the new client questionnaire.
No.
Sometimes you get weeded out beforehand.
And we have a lot of repeat business too.
Yeah. And work through designers and stuff. They don't go through this. So
yeah.
You see here, what's your budget? Not sure at this point. Trying to work within a budget of $100K for the kitchen. Cabinet budget depends on cost to remove a wall and move appliances.
That was a good answer.
Yeah. 1,500, max 3,000, 3,000. Like $1 billion. That guy was a dick. We didn't work with him. 1,200.
And he had all that money.
200.
You have to throw in some of the anecdotes about what people want and what they think it's going to cost.
Yeah, 600. That was they wanted something shipped to California.
A bathroom vanity.
100, 500, 950. While I'm single, not wealthy, and willing to hear all of your suggestions. I just heard from Tommy. His mom passed away.
Oh,
the
stained glass guy.
Stained glass guy that we know. So that's the new client questionnaire, and this doesn't have to be a Google form.
No,
this could be something that you have in an email and that you just email over to the client. You don't have to have a website where you set this up, and you don't have to embed this on a website. I just have it embedded on ours. What you can do is actually right here. You can click send. And I could just type in an email, and it'll send it over. They can fill it out, and then you get an email when it's all filled out.
That's a great point, because if somebody emails you or calls you on the phone, really what you want to do is gather those few answers. You know, what are you looking for? Are there any details you can tell me about it? And how much do you think this is going to cost?
Yeah, this is a nice, easy way to... what happens when someone calls is sometimes you freeze up and you don't remember what to ask. And so this is a nice way to just say, you pick up the phone. Hey, Green Street, this is Jeff. Oh, hey, Jeff, my name is Sally. I'm looking for a cabinet for my living room. Oh, sure. Where do you guys live? Oh, Red Bank. And all right, when are you looking to have it done? So this, you can just send them here, and you don't have to remember all these things. And if you forget to ask something, you don't have to call them back and say, "Oh yeah, what did you say that?" So it's just a streamline. You want. We were talking about routines and consistency before. You want to set up systems to make your life easier.
Yeah, we wear all the hats here. We don't have a lot of time to spend, but we don't want people to feel like we don't have enough time to spend on them.
Right. So Andrew says, I used to sell cars, and statistically, people buy within 72 hours of them starting to shop. That's why salespeople want to lock you in the office.
That's some great information.
Kevin asks, would giving price ranges and associating it with portfolio picks help establish a frame of reference for potential clients? Might help filter out or have folks self-select, or would you rather have the opportunity to convert them or sell them on the value you provide? I did consider that, Kevin, and that's actually something that John does, where he has rather than having the section where I asked, what's the specific function of this piece, he has what are you looking for? Table, cabinet, whatever. And you can click on like a picture and select. And then I believe he has pricing there. You know, the nature of our work is so custom and specific, built to the situation and space, that it's very hard to put a number. You know, it could be such a broad range.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. It's definitely something for us to consider, but not something that we've done yet.
You know, I like the other part of that question too, because we design all our stuff
Right.
from scratch, and really particularly for that individual. And there are instances where we totally upsell what the client had intended, because, you know, yes, we realize this is double what you were intending to spend, but this is what you can get from us if you want.
Right.
You can't get that anywhere else.
There you guys go. You can see our beautiful faces again.
Oh, yeah. I've always liked to have the opportunity to sell an original design to somebody.
Do you have his website so we can see what he is doing? I don't remember it off the top of my head, Jerry. He has a business, like, aside from, that's not branded as John Malecki. It's like U.S. Wood and Steel or something. I want to say it's called. This is going back almost 18 months now, so I don't. Well, more like 13 or 14 months. I don't remember. But if you Google or go to John Malecki's Instagram or something, you could probably find.
Yeah.
And I believe I may have looked for it, and maybe it wasn't there anymore. I think maybe he's not taking commissions anymore. But again, I don't know. I'm not a big follower of that guy. So, we talked about interpreting the info. Really, it's just can you work within the budget? Does the time frame work with your schedule? Is it a project that you're comfortable taking on? Is it above your head? Is it something you can actually do? And are there any red flags, like verbiage, like nothing fancy, something simple? You know, you'll learn, and I'm sure you know already. There's things that people say.
The first thing they say is, "I'm not looking for anything fancy."
Right.
And we don't make fancy furniture, really.
No. Well, you know.
Ornate, I'm gonna say.
Right. Yeah.
So, if you said, so you don't want something ornate?
Yeah. And you know, you all know difficult people and what they sound like and the things they say. So, take the information that's in this new client questionnaire, and you have to make a judgment call sometimes. Sometimes you just have to pass on a job.
Yeah. I'll ask you a rhetorical question. Are there jobs that are better off not taken?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if somebody's willing to pay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes they cost you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are we ready to move on to number 3? Or
I guess does anybody have any questions about the new client questionnaire? I know we have a little bit of a delay, so we'll give it a minute here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna grab a seltzer. You want one?
Yeah, I'll take one. Thanks.
We got beer coming later.
Yeah. Can you see the stuff? No. I love the red flags. That's my favorite part of that. What's some other things? What are some other catchphrases? Nothing fancy.
It's pretty easy.
It's pretty easy. Yeah, I do it myself, but I don't have the time.
Yeah, I saw.
Right.
I'm a member of a couple local Facebook groups. I don't post on them for Green Street because I just don't. It's usually more of a hassle than it is anything else. But I saw someone was looking to have a staircase built for their pool or something, and they said, "Yeah, it's a pretty easy job." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Yeah, this guy's a dick."
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's always interesting, and we're going to get to this when you started talking about calculating the job cost, but valuing your time and the perception that some people have about the value of our time versus their own. It's always interesting.
All right, I guess we don't have any questions. So
all right. So we're going to go to what we call confirming the job parameters and the site visit. They're all kind of rolled up in there.
Yep.
Now, how did we get to this part? We got our call.
Yeah, so your client, you got the call, you sent them to the questionnaire, they filled it out, you decided, all right, it's going to be a good fit, we can do the job, and now you need to, you look at the new client questionnaire and say, oh, you know what, I got to know if the ceilings are 8 feet tall, they're 9 feet tall, whatever, so you're going to confirm these, and then...
Now, we don't always need to go to the site to give a price.
No.
But for the most part, if it's local, we like to go there. We like to show our faces and that sort of thing.
Right.
So we're not going to talk about the design element today because
Not
that's
on
a
this one.
whole
Yeah.
thing. So we have the job. You and I, what we like to do is draw it up, which means we draw the pictures. We make a visual representation of the job in scale. So it's Jeff is very good at Fusion, and I'm still stuck on SketchUp.
I'm getting there.
But what
we
we could
nobody's
do?
in here?
What's that?
I don't know if everybody got booted out, everybody left us. Anyway, we'll keep going.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah.
So we determine what we're going to build. Let's say it's a living room set, built-in cabinets for a living room. We draw it up, and from that we're going to extrapolate the cost. But we want to be sure what we're designing and building includes everything and excludes everything that needs to be. So we decide we're going to go to their house for a site visit.
Yep.
One thing is, now Jeff and I are very casual. We're not dress up guys, but we go there. We're wearing our Green Street T-shirts.
Yeah.
We clean.
Make sure you shave before you go.
just basic stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we had one guy here with us, didn't own a shirt with sleeves on them.
Yeah.
Which, you know, especially as you get into be, you know, in your 60s, it's not the right look.
Not if you do this kind of work.
If
you're a roofer, maybe.
Right. You know, you want people to trust you.
Right.
These are elements of confidence building.
Look the part.
Right. Exactly. So we show up, and Jeff and I are both pretty good at this. We spend as much time in the home as we need to, thinking we're never going to come back here again until this piece is finished and delivered.
Yep.
Now, we've done jobs like the Mendelssohns, full kitchen, an adjoining room with a bar, a mud room,
barn door,
built-in pantry. All these measurements were taken.
Built-in refrigerator into a niche in the wall.
With the existing kitchen still in place, and they were tearing things down and moving walls.
Yep.
And windows, but we took all the notes, and this was during COVID too.
Yeah. I didn't. You were the only one that was able to go in, right? Because we're able to go in,
right? So I was the only guy. Pressure was on.
Yeah. Hope you brought good tape with you.
I went in, took all the measurements, and the job was delayed because of COVID. So it was like 6 months from the time I went in this guy's house to the time we delivered 3.5 rooms of adjoining furniture.
Yeah, you're talking, I mean, that was almost a $60,000 job.
Right.
One site visit before delivery.
With the old cabinets all in there.
Right.
The mud room was totally obstructed. There was a closet in there that was removed, the washing machine. I mean, so.
Oh, and built a column.
Yeah.
To column wrap on a thing that didn't even exist yet.
Yes, yes. We did a ton of work. So it's possible. It's not like we're magicians. We're just.
No, yeah.
We're very patient and we're thorough. And this is our mindset going in. We're going to measure this room and we're going to save the time because we don't want to lose a day going back to their house.
Yeah. Leaving the shop doesn't make you money.
No.
Even the install doesn't make you money. You can't. Maybe that's a stretch, but this is where you make the money, is in the shop.
Yeah,
everything is here set up.
So you want to take notes. You want to take pictures. You want to measure everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Jeff and I are both like this too. Right away, we want to get that room or the house into the drawing program.
Yep.
Transfer all those little nuances, every curve, every corner, all the irregularities, so you can build that house in your 3D drawing program. And if you don't have a 3D drawing program, you're not up to speed with that. I started as an old draftsman, and I did it all with pencil and paper. But I had myself a T-square and a sliding table and all that stuff, and got just as good a results. It just takes longer, and everything's in 2D instead of 3D. So that's what it's all about: confirming those job parameters and the site visit. So now we've got that. We want to divide it up into the shop work and the site work. What are we going to do? And this is probably going to be one of the harder things for a new business person to get right, because this is where our experience tells us how long it's going to take.
Oh, Matt's here.
Hey, Matt. So we have our shop. How long is it going to take? And depending on where you are in your business life, young, old, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of time spent that's not directly hands on the project, right? Like how much time do you spend going to get materials, to clean the shop, to order things, to put them away? My first accountant told me, the price of your work has to include all this time, because there's time in between job A and job B where the shop is down. So we have our shop work, and then we have our site work. That's the installation, but it might mean coordinating a trade, waiting for something to happen.
Sal says every time he comments, he gets kicked out.
Oh,
sorry, Sal.
And that kind of work takes a little bit longer because we're out of our comfort zones. We're in somebody's house. We're working slow. We're working careful. Like when we put in those sets of cabinets in Pennsylvania. Super simple installation.
Walk them in, drop them in the spot.
Basically. But it still took, like 4 hours because everything's slow. You're moving things in where you have a half inch between the wall and the cabinet. Right. You don't want to put a big mark on their wall.
Yeah, so we're not even talking about calculating the cost associated with those things yet, but what Rob is saying is when you're on site, you need to be examining all of these things. Right. Is the stairwell wide enough to get the thing up to the second floor where you're supposed to put it?
Well, you're going to have to take the banister off.
Right. So, okay, you better tack on 3 hours because you got to take it off, put it on. Something might happen. You're going to have to talk to the client about it. All those kind of things. Will the kitchen island make it from the garage to the kitchen? Yes. Can you get something that's 10 feet long around the corner?
Around the curve? This stuff happens in real life. We know people who've run into these problems.
We've run into them.
No, things that didn't work. We've never done anything that didn't work. We've had
no. There's always a solution, but sometimes you get caught slipping and you miss something.
Like I always go back and think of over at Tom's, the closet that they had to chop the back of the cabinets off because it couldn't go around the corner. This might have been before.
I can't remember that specific one because things like that happen so many times.
It was this big like California closet style closet, and it had to go in the bedroom and then through like a little hallway that was part of the bedroom, and then into the closet. But the cabinets were too long, so they had to slice off the back, like the foot area, then of the cabinet to make it turn that corner.
Classy.
See, and the more you do this stuff, the more you can see the little things that might happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Really, we're looking for, dimensions and stuff, but what might go wrong, because that's the stuff that winds up costing you money. All that extra time that you didn't foresee spending.
Yeah, and when we get to calculating the cost, all these little things can add up, and this number that you get from the spreadsheet might look good, but then you missed one thing when you were looking, and these hours add up, and it can turn from a profitable job into either a break even or a non-profiting job where you're losing money.
So I see here on my notes, I have appearance, which I kind of covered that first instead of last. But you want to show up prepared.
Look professional.
Looking clean, with all your gear. Take notes. And take a look around the house. See what the people have in their house already. Get an idea about what they're into and what you can do to make, a positive addition to their home.
Yeah, and make some small talk, chat with the client, try and get to know them, because these red flags that we talked about in the new client questionnaire, they may not have shown themselves yet, and there may still be some red flags that you can pick up on. It's not too late for you to back out of this job and cut your losses.
Yeah,
where all you did was waste a half a day going out to the client's house and meeting with them.
Yeah, one thing that my wife always says is, I envy you guys because you have such nice clients. You always have the best clients. And part of that is the client, but part of it is our sort of selection process too.
Right. Yeah, I mean, only a certain type of people are really willing and able to work with us, just because of our style of work and sort of how we are unwilling to bend the ideals that we set forth for ourselves.
It's not unusual for us to get invited to sit down, have tea, have snacks, have lunch. We bond with our clients, and they realize that we're invested in them.
Yeah, and it's important for us because you got to like who you're working with.
That's part of what can happen during that site visit. You're sort of impressing on them what your values are, what our values are as people, as a company, and because there are lots of people out there vying for this type of work, and we want to be chosen.
Halden, I didn't know you were one of the patrons. I know your name from YouTube, but I don't know what your real name is. I'm gonna have to find out. Have you ever resigned from a job after visiting a client?
Oh yes, I did.
I can't think of one off the top of my head. I'm sure there may be one, but you got a story for us?
It was up in the Highlands, and it was a pretty good job. It was a mud room and a living room. It was a bunch of built-in stuff, and I had it all drawn up, had the prices, everything was, it was going towards the job, and I never took their money because they wanted me to come back and measure up another room for this, and I just got this feeling in the pit of my stomach,
premonition,
that this is gonna go south. It was mostly the wife, and I told her I wasn't able to do it, and they got really mad. And she would email me a couple of times a week for a couple of weeks after that. I can't believe I never heard of such a thing.
I've never been treated like this.
And
must be nice to have those are the biggest problems in your life.
Exactly.
This guy doesn't want to work for me.
Yeah, it was, people can be indignant, and I was, of course, very, very polite, and I didn't say, I don't want to work for you because I could tell you're going to give me a really hard time.
Yeah. You're a pain in the ass, lady.
Yeah, I just got that sick feeling in my stomach. And you know what? I was fortunate enough to have other jobs waiting. And I was like, I'm just going to move on from this.
Yeah.
And that was that. But it only happened once. And, been doing this long enough. So
Yeah, and we're vetting you on the first phone call. We're vetting you on the new client questionnaire. We're vetting you on the site visit. So there's a lot of time to weed these people out.
Yeah, yeah.
It's important. It's
It
better
is.
to not take a job than it is to take it and be miserable and make less money than you should because you have a difficult client. An unreasonable client.
That's the thing that usually goes along with the unreasonable client is that part of it is they're really trying to just squeeze that rag dry.
Yep.
They want something for nothing all the time. And they just tend to devalue our experience and our craft.
Yep. We just got a new patron, Chris. I wonder if he jumped into the live.
That's pretty cool.
Maybe Chris is Hall. Hall Den. Reveal yourself. So I think that pretty much covers the site visit and the.
Yeah.
Andrew, what is the longest amount of time you've spent vetting a potential client just for them to hire someone else? That's hard to say because you don't always know when they go somewhere else. People often don't want to tell you.
Yeah. I know at the beginning I spent a bunch of time with somebody, and this was a real learning experience for me. When I used to do all my drawings on paper, and I returned to these folks' home when they called me for another proposal, and I noticed the work that I had designed built.
Oh, jeez. A facsimile of what you would have built.
And I was like,
Actually, I will say the guy you guys saw in the new client questionnaire, the guy who said his budget was like $1 billion or whatever. Yeah. So that guy was referred to us through an old client of mine. I know where he lives, a lot of money, Rumson. This is what I do when I get the new client questionnaire. I'll look them up on Facebook, and I'll dig a little bit and try and find out something about them. That may sound weird, but it's good to know your clients and to I don't want to say get the upper hand, but information is powerful. So the more you know about the client, things that maybe they're not willing to give up, like they run a hedge fund or something like that, you want to know these things. So this guy, he's got a lot of money. So I tell him to fill out the new client questionnaire. I had his name from the old client. Tell him to fill out the new client questionnaire. He shoots me a text back. Oh, I filled it out. Only thing I didn't fill out was the budget because I think that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Well,
turns out.
Yeah. Definitely Snoop, he says. So this guy, I said, all right, something like that looks like it's going to start somewhere in the $10,000 range. Okay, sounds good. So we go through, get to second revision design. And then he made some design changes. I say, well, it's going to be more like 12.5, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you guys are too expensive. I'm going to get somebody else to do it. Yeah. And that went for a while. But there were these red flags. We probably should have not put as much. We really didn't put a lot of effort into it because we did notice these things. So you can at least scale back what you're doing and maybe not put as much time into it. Excuse me. If you're not busy, spend as much time as you have. You know what I mean? Trying to get that job.
Right. And then decide.
Yeah, but if it doesn't look like it's going to pan out, then don't waste your time busting your ass trying to, come up with a design and doing a really thorough job cost calculation.
Yeah, I mean, if you're sitting around twiddling your thumbs, maybe you want to hold your nose and take a job.
Yeah.
There's not something else that's constructive that you can do.
We got any more questions for the Section 3, confirming job parameters and site visits?
No. Just look good when you get there.
If not, we'll move on to calculating the job cost. Let's see. I'll get this.
With our magic spreadsheet?
Yes. Pull this up over here. Now, why is it showing
all those...
why is it
mirroring all those...
why does it do that?
I don't know.
Let's see if I can get it just... I'll cover you up because somebody talking.
There you go. I like that view.
So put that there. I wish there was a way I could have a picture-in-picture so I can see what the hell I'm doing down here. Because I can't see anything.
Can you tell we're woodworkers?
Yeah.
Well, you know, in fairness, most people that are doing things like this probably have some kind of like camera person or a TD, a technical director, or somebody doing these things while they're actually being the on-air talent.
Yeah. So, this spreadsheet has missing fonts. You get to see that every time you open it, guys. So, this is our job cost calculating spreadsheet, we'll call it. You can, I guess, open it up and follow along if you'd like. So, maybe, do I have one that I can open up and show that has stuff in it? Who's good on here? Here's this Chase Lounges we just did. This one's a little simple. There's not much in there. Let me see if replacement door. I have a lot of this stuff on.
What about like one of the barn doors?
That's a little simple too. I was gonna look for something that had a lot of moving parts to it. All right, here we go. This was a mud room. Oh, we got personal info on there. Anyway, you guys get the idea. I'm not going to show you. I should have redacted information on one.
Yeah.
So I guess let's just create a fictitious job here.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. Even
the client is Rib Barone. Rib.
Oh man.
Rib McBarone. Rib McBarone. And what we're making him is a wall unit. So at this point,
I want tambour doors, just so you know.
We're right. You've already gotten to the site if you had to. So you have all your parameters. You've designed the job, which we'll maybe do one of these in regards to design, but not relevant to the pricing. How to design isn't relevant to the pricing conversation. Yeah. But so you have a wall unit that you're going to build them. And you've done your takeoffs and you know how much material you're going to need. So right here, 5/4 hardwood, you need 150 board feet. And you can plug in your price here. We have it set at these are just random numbers, $925. Well, they're not random, $925. So here you have your price for the hardwood. Veneer core ply, you're going to need 3 of those. Cabinet ply, you're going to need 5 of those. 1/2 inch for backs, you're going to need 2, not 20. 2. Moldings for the top, 12 feet. Got 3 doors, so 6 pairs of hinges. Well, 3 pairs of hinges, sorry. 6 hinges. And you have 3 drawers.
All right.
3 sets of slides. Finish hardware.
Yeah.
6 of them. Now we have our finishes and abrasives and our shop tooling and fasteners and any specialty items. So you see, you can plug in and you can change all these around to fit, what materials you're using and what's specific to the job. So some of these, like I might delete this whole thing and
right.
change them all around. What you don't want to do is like go and delete it out like this. Just change the values. That way all the calculations stay the same because you can see like these are all formulated.
So what's shop tooling and things like that? I mean, people might ask.
Yeah, so you see here we have our shop tooling and fasteners. Shop tooling and fasteners. So that is your screws, obviously. I am about before him is tough. Oh, Colin, our patron in Australia. It's a little early for him. It's 4 a.m. there.
Good Thursday morning.
Yeah. Shop tooling and fasteners are your screws, your any type of little connectors that you may be using, leveling feet, stuff like that, and your saw blades, your router bits, maintenance on those.
Because it's all got to be paid for somehow.
Yeah. So if you're not,
glue.
it's an overhead that can be line itemed basically. And these numbers may change. You know, I might, if we're doing Rubio and it's a big job, I might change this to a 275
Right.
instead of 75. If we're using a 5/4 walnut, well, 925 is going to be pretty good, but I'm going to want to mark that up a little bit. So I might go to 1125.
Right.
And you see here we go from 3504.50 to 3804.50. So that's your material there. Now we come down here to the labor, design and consulting. This is oftentimes hard to get all the time that you may spend on that, but you want to get something, and it's good to delineate it out. So let's say you spend 8 hours on design. Here we go.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I'm not talking to you, Siri. Fabrication,
That's the biggie.
80 hours, we'll call it. That's 1 week, 2 guys. And the installation is going to take 2 hours, 2 man days, 16 hours.
Why not like 5 hours a piece instead of 8 hours a piece?
Yeah, well, by the time you get back to the shop and everything, we all know that that's shot.
There's no such thing as a partial day. Is there? There's no half sheets of plywood.
Something I will note, if you're going to be using this template, you see here, yours is going to say 7% on taxable labor here. I have it changed to 6.625. That's the going tax rate in New Jersey. And what I did is I changed the calculation. There was an error. It wasn't adding tax to this. So you just want to change it to F28, which is the total labor, times, and then your tax rate where you are, and then it'll calculate that correctly.
Yeah, it's all those simple Word and
Excel formulas.
Excel and numbers.
Now you see here on material, we say tax included. We pay tax when we buy our material. We don't what do they call it?
We don't use our tax exempt number.
Right, because it just makes it easier for us to calculate these things.
It's for our bookkeeping, it's easier.
We have here capital improvement form ST8. That's through New Jersey. I don't know what it may be in your state, but we can go, if this is a built-in and it qualifies as a capital improvement, we can go minus 44785, back the tax out. We can provide the client with the ST8 form. They can fill it out, and you see here we drop back down to 10,564. Let me just pop open the chat, see if anybody's got any questions, because I know I'm moving kind of fast. I think you have it on screen share as well as window share, maybe. Yeah, Andrew, I'll be honest, I have no idea.
Thank you, Andrew.
Need a second monitor. Those Chase lounges, how did you factor in the risk on not having steam vent before? We didn't.
Yeah.
That was just something that we decided to do.
Yeah, sometimes we use that as our educating and learning vehicle, right? You know, we want to learn, we want to try, we want to push ourselves.
Yeah, and we build those in, and maybe that's something that we'll talk about more on the design one, but that's something that we build into jobs, or things that we haven't done before, and try to account a little bit for the unknown, you know, in trying something new, but it's a trade-off. You're either going to benefit monetarily or you're going to benefit by learning something new. So we did gain something from that steam bending experimentation, not money, but we gained experience and
a lot of experience, actually, because we tried so many different things, and we picked up all these little nuances about how the wood's going to react in different circumstances.
So Jerry says, looks like you're paying tax on the components, not purchasing tax-free and then adding tax to your sale. You're right, Jerry. Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. Are we adding anything to the raw material cost? Again, this is so you see here on calculating job cost, the last, actually, and I didn't do this in order at all. The last one, massaging the numbers. So this is an area where what we'll do typically is plug in the real numbers. So 5/4 FAS. Let's change this here. Cherry. Well, for 5/4 FAS cherry, we're paying about $2.65. That's $397.50. Now you need to take into account, well, we can't buy 150 board feet of cherry.
No.
We have to buy 300 board feet.
Yeah.
So at minimum, what I'm going to do, if we don't have it laying around, is I'm going to double this to, we'll call it $6. Now, we see, 9,777. Seems a little low. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here, we're going to massage it. We're going to make the cherry $8. We're going to make the moldings are actually going to be $6.25. And whatever, we're going to get $300 for the finish. You say, well, just over 10,000 seems pretty good.
Yeah, and we show all these numbers to the client.
Right, this is going to go, we'll get to that in the presentation, but this is actually going to go to the client. This spreadsheet is going to be turned into a PDF. You're going to go here, file, export as, or export to PDF. So that way they can't get in here and start changing stuff around. So yeah, that's what I mean by massaging the numbers. You need to take into consideration all you've learned from the client up to this point and come to a determination of what you're going to be able to get.
Yeah. Also, I mean, we figure our jobs on time and materials. And there are instances where straight time and materials isn't going to get us the value that we've earned, because sometimes, you know, we can charge more for something based on our skill as craftsmen and things like that, because there's value in that, and
just the going rate of something. So yeah, let me look back at this syllabus here and knowing your worth. Okay, sorry I didn't look at this in order. Just jumping in. Knowing your worth. So that comes down here to the hourly figure. See here it's in a 65. Typically we're not charging 65. Typically what we're getting is 55. And you see here it just changed all these numbers around. You need to put a number on your time, on your hourly time. Is it 55? Is it 75? Is it 25?
When I first started, my first hourly rate was $30.
Wow, yeah.
And I thought I was doing all right.
Yeah. And, you know, I'll tell you, we're not taking home 55 an hour.
Right.
Because we like to experiment, like with the steam bending and stuff.
We got the 5 covered.
Yeah. I got my wife texting me super important stuff. Tacos for dinner?
Oh, I'm coming over to your house.
Oh, my God. So yeah, you know, think long and hard about your hourly rate, and we don't change that. We don't change that rate.
Right.
We'll massage the numbers somewhere, but we're not changing that rate.
Right. We're not. And what are you doing? Oh, I see. That's covered somewhere else at the end. I'm not going to say it now.
Knowing your material costs. So we talked about that a little bit. You need to stay up on, right now, material costs are changing. We haven't seen a lot of change, I keep saying, but, I'll call our lumber distributor and just check on things, say, especially if it's a big job, say, hey, listen, we're going to need like 750 board feet of white oak. What's it going for right now? And he'll give me a real-time quote. And you can plug that in. It takes, even if you get to chatting, it takes 20 minutes. Estimating hours effectively. That goes back to the site visit, taking all this information and really breaking it down, trying to break tasks down into, days or sections of days where, okay, so it's going to take, one guy a half a day to cut everything, to mark all the boards up and cut them to rough length. And it's going to take a half a day to join it. It's going to take a half a day, 2 guys to plane it.
That's kind of our smallest division, right? A half a day.
Yeah. And the massaging's at the end, because all this will, you move numbers around to make it work, but you need to get yourself a baseline. That's the whole point of this thing, is to get yourself a baseline.
So you don't undersell yourself. Right.
And so, yeah, you have to get a number somehow. And this is a way better way to do it than just pulling it out of your ass. Go back to.
Do you know somebody that does that?
Oh, okay, I forgot. I am sharing the screen. Now my wife's trying to FaceTime me. That's the response to
Tacos.
sure I'm doing a live stream. Oh, sounds like a good time to FaceTime.
Maybe she wants some screen time.
Oh my god. I don't even remember what the hell I was saying.
Your massaging numbers.
Yeah.
Knowing your worth.
Oh, about getting a baseline.
Yeah.
I think that's what I was talking about. Yeah, so this gives you a good baseline. It's better than just pulling a number out of your ass or saying, well, the last wall unit I did was 8,000, so this one should be about the same. This is going to give you concrete proven numbers that are based off of hard facts basically. And then you change them to suit the job. If it's a super easy install, it's going to take you a little bit less time if it's on the third floor. If they want to pay me by time, I'm happy to learn, and they can pay for every minute I'm on the clock. Yeah. I think that pretty much covers the spreadsheet. Does anyone have any questions? We have a bit of a delay, so I'll give you
give it a minute or two.
Second there to move this down. Yeah, there's Rob again.
The spreadsheets are really helpful when there's multiple components.
And they're super fast.
Yeah.
Like we knocked out. Now these aren't full on bids. These are just ballparks for a designer. We knocked out like 3 of them this morning in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it was for substantial work.
Oh yeah. We're talking about
tens of thousands.
Yeah. 5-figure, mid 5-figure job. Been a mechanic my entire adult life. We go by book hours set. If it takes half that, I still get paid. If it takes double that, right. And that's the same thing for us, Andrew. Like if I say it's going to take 40 man hours and it takes 50, we're not going back to the client saying, "Well, it took us 10 extra hours. Can we have
no, we never do that.
No.
And typically we're putting in extra time to do something a little bit extra special, something hidden, something that the client didn't know was coming and was included, but we like that. And that's pretty common around here.
Yep. All right. So yeah, let's move on to wait. I wouldn't pay for someone to mow my lawn based on the tools and experience. The job costs this number. It doesn't matter if they use a hand mower or a zero turn. Do you put these numbers into a formal bid or just a PDF of the quote sheet and your scope of work, dog? That is our bid, is the scope of work and the breakdown of cost. So we'll get into at the end, what we actually send. I know in the past you discussed tracking actuals on the pod. Any evolution on that thinking? Seems like tracking the exact hours would be a pain. But how much are you tracking the materials, etc.? The materials, like what we're plugging into this sheet, those are real quantities for the most part. Yeah. Like if we only need 150 board feet but need to buy 300 and the client's paying for 300, well, that's what we're buying is 300. We don't do tracking. It just, the time investment doesn't seem like it would really pay any dividends for us.
We kind of know. We have a calendar with
Yeah. We know how much we got for it's just the two of us. We're not running a crew, so not as important for us as two owner operators. As long as we could
still make payroll.
Right, yeah. We know how much money's in the bank and how much we got for the job and how much time we said it was going to take. So that's sort of how we judge things. But yeah, if anybody else has a question, we can always pop back. We'll get into defining the scope of work, and I'll pull up let me see here. I'm going to cover myself up because Rob's going to be the one talking. Like that. And pop open this.
Yeah, we have templates for these things, which is a great tool because it helps you not forget to include certain things, as well as giving you, you know, that leg up on actually physically doing it.
Yep.
You know, because there's so many kind of boilerplate items.
Yeah, here. I don't know if you want to navigate this well, but I got this. The screen's being shared, so if you
Yeah.
need to.
So if you look at the screen, we have basically it's a business letter format, and we just plug in the address and the folks' name, and just a little, you know, thank you for the opportunity to present our work. And the scope of work will be something like design, fabricate, and install custom wall unit as described following, and in accompanying drawings. And sometimes the drawings need to be designated like R1, like revision 1, or dated. That's typically the way like a commercial bid would be done. The drawings would have dates. And this is where I picked up a lot of this thoroughness from being an estimator for commercial GC. So now the notes section, that's kind of the boilerplate. But in between, we'll start filling things in, and might say, let's see, what did I say we were going to build? You want to stick with the wall unit?
Yeah.
So we'll stick with this wall unit, scope of work, and then base cabinets. And I will say base cabinets, 50 3/4 inches wide by 22 inches high by 23.5 inches deep. And then below that, I usually use bullet points, and I'll describe everything, every single thing. It sounds silly, but I learned this, again, working with commercial clients where everything is all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted. And 2 doors, what's the orientation of the door? They'll be, how are they going to be finished? If it's going to be separate, or if all items are going to be finished the same, you could put that in your general notes. In a kitchen, I'll list every single cabinet, all the door and drawer orientations, the sizes, what the panels are. If it was, you know, it might say 2 doors with flat panels, 2 doors with opaque glass panels, et cetera, et cetera. So be really thorough with the dimensions and everything you possibly can to describe the piece. It's good for the client, and it's really good for us. So after I've done all that, then I get down to my notes section. We have a lot of what I'll call standard notes. First one's always going to be all work to be selected hardwood, and I'll usually replace that with, let's say this job's going to be walnut. So it's going to be all work to be FAS, first and seconds, black walnut, 5/4 inch milled to 1 inch finish thickness, grain match throughout unless specifically noted. That's standard Green Street. That's what we do. If there's going to be something that's going to be plywood or edge banded or not that's what I'll note, because it's easier to do it that way, because everything else is going to be solid. I even note all casework to be 3/4 inch birch veneer ply. Sometimes that's going to be maple. I'll note that. Backs 1/2 inch of the same. All joints to be dado glued and screwed. You got that? Okay. This one should be another bullet point. All doors and drawers to be full inset. All door panels to be book matched. All drawer boxes to be 3/4 inch maple with dovetail joinery, et cetera, et cetera. So these are all the things. We tell them what kind of hinges we're going to use, what kind of slides.
So Andrew asked, any particular reason to use undermount instead of side mount drawer slides? Wouldn't using side mount be a good way to meet a client's budget without sacrificing overall quality? I would say it's definitely a quality sacrifice, and really the price difference isn't enough to warrant undermounts are, in my opinion, a far better choice for about twice the price. And something that we stress to clients are that material is cheap and labor is expensive.
Right.
So you're going to save, even on a kitchen, what are you going to save? A couple $100 on slides?
Yeah. That's a thing. You try and explain the value of something where, okay, you're spending $30,000. Do you want to save $300 on this piece of equipment that will fail? Those slides will fail.
Yeah.
Those little rubber things at the back of the side mounts dry out.
Yeah.
And the ball bearings eventually come spilling out. So it's up to us to explain what are the pros and cons, and people usually see it's what's in their own interest.
Yeah, don't be sorry, Andrew. And we'll get into, second to last thing on the syllabus, we would call it, is can you do it cheaper? So we'll address when that question comes up what we do.
Yeah. One of the things I like here is I put all quoted material costs include taxes and shipping when required. A lot of times I'll put handling too, because when we receive 500 board feet of lumber, we got to go out, we got to take it in, we got to store it, we got to sort it. This is all time. I mean, we want to. So when we're padding these numbers up, it's not cheating the client in any way. We're not taking any money out of their pockets for something that we're not doing. It's just, it's in lieu of a line item where we say, yes, we had to unload your lumber and put it away.
Right.
We finish hardware allowance. I don't know if you guys know about allowances, things like this, where it's yet to be determined. All the things they're going to need drawer pulls and knobs. Well, depending on the job, we'll include, let's say you need 40 knobs. We'll include, the $10 per location.
Right. If it's more, that's a change order. If it's less, well, that's your problem. It's saying, we built in for you to choose a piece of hardware that's up to $10 per location, including tax, shipping, all that.
Yeah. But we tell them what the finish. I mean, we always put recommended finish is tongue, oil, and wax. Finish sample to be provided and approved. Sometimes that line is a little bit different because we know going in that it's going to be a different finish, whether it's like a Rubio with a tint in it or something like that.
Yeah, and it may just say recommended finish is TBD, finish sample to be provided and approved. Because sometimes you can't get to that. Sometimes you got to get the price before you figure out all of these. Sometimes you send out a scope of work letter and a cost breakdown, and you'll have a revision on both. So it's not necessarily wrong to have a TBD there.
Yeah, and some stuff that's not there are all those little site things that could happen. I mean, one thing I learned as a commercial estimator, you're always trying to cover your ass, and whether you like to put it or not is up to you. But we generally, on any kind of installation, will put no work, not specifically quoted has been included, or all work not quoted is excluded. Something to that nature.
I like to put wood is a natural substance, and variations in color and grain are be expected, stuff like that. And going back to the red flags, when you have a client that you're working with that you see may be difficult in certain ways, you need to word these things to protect you from any sort of, not foul play, but any trouble that you may have.
Pile it up with all the things that are relevant. No mechanical work. I'm sorry that outlet has to be moved now because this cabinet blocks it. And yes, I know how to do that, but I'm not a licensed electrician, and I'm not touching that outlet. It's just, that's not the way it's going to happen.
Yeah, like when with the chaise lounges, I made sure to put cushions and upholstery are NIC, not in contract. because we talked about it, but it needs to be on this thing so that it's clear to everyone when they say, "Oh, but where are the cushions?" Well, no, look back to the scope of work letter. It says cushions are NIC.
Right. So this letter with the spreadsheet that shows where all the costs are, and really importantly, the design, the 3D image, because we do custom work, there has to be some representation of what we're going to build. And for us, it's 3D drawing. You can't tell somebody, I mean, maybe you could and get away with it, but it'd be very hard to sell a $15,000 armoire without some sort of representation.
Yeah.
People just would be very reluctant to do it. So those three things spell out in every detail what you're going to provide them. You put the cost. We in our letter, you have to put a lead time and how long it's going to take. In New Jersey, I don't know if in other states, but that's law.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we actually even fall under that. I know for contractors and stuff.
Yeah, they have to put that. We give them our lead time, which they're pretty much aware of anyway because it's all been discussed. And then we're going to put the price that we're charging, and we're going to give them a payment schedule.
Right.
There you go. Terms of payment. Just to get on the list, as we call it, you're going to give us 10%. So that means if the job's $10,000, give us a check or cash for $1,000. Here's when we're probably going to start. You're going to start your job between June 1st and June 15th, and we'll be finished August 1st. But when we start working on your job, that means June 1st or June 5th, you're going to have to give us 75%. That's the money that Jeff and I use to pay ourselves, to buy the materials. And then when we're done, you take a look at everything. If it's all cool, you give us the remaining 15%, and we shake hands.
Yep.
It works for us. We don't have any. What we see out there,
a big van.
Some folks are surprised that we ask for and get so much of our money up front, but it makes sense. I mean, we don't work on somebody else's job. We're not robbing Peter to pay Paul, and I think that fact helps us. A lot of people have to keep going out and getting another job,
right,
to put money in the coffers. And then the job that they're really supposed to be working on kind of gets put on the shelf, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's when you see big delays because, there's not any money left in the job because you only took 50%, and you need to go get another job and get working on it to get some money out of that to keep paying yourself to finish the other one. So it's a slippery slope. There's not enough profit in this type of work. Some guys are able to do it where we can float from one job into the next. You know what I mean?
We like to have some money in the bank too.
Yeah.
Because you never know what could happen.
Right.
So does anybody have any questions? Anything coming up on the sidebar there?
Yeah, if you guys have any questions on the scope of work, pop them up there. If not, we'll move on to the
we'll
last
start wrapping
section.
it up.
Give it a minute here. Let me see. I'm going to go ahead and unshare the screen.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up an email that has a packet in it.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be sure to transfer those to PDFs before you send them out.
Yeah. Going to get into that here.
Not that we don't trust people. How many people we have listening?
I don't know because it's fucking up. So, do you have a change order form? We don't. Any change order will really just go back through the scope of work and the breakdown of cost.
Yeah.
It'll either be an amendment or it'll just be if it's a straight up add on, it'll just be a new scope of work letter and a new breakdown of cost spreadsheet.
That's how we've treated it in the past. It's almost like a separate job.
Are you using a tool to track your sales funnel and sold projects, something like Trello? Jerry kills me because he's like a real businessman.
We do like 10 jobs a year.
Yeah, I've never even heard of Trello. No, I mean, we do have some tracking within QuickBooks and stuff, but it's not something that we're currently using.
No.
All right, let's see. So what I'll do here, I'm going to pull this back up. See, I got 2 empty seltzers now. I'm a thirsty man.
Want me to get you another one?
No, and we have to do the podcast after this and the Patreon bonus show. We'll be drinking a beer, and I'll probably be drinking about another 4 seltzers. Okay. So, sharing the screen. I'm going blind. All right. So you see here, this is a pack. Well, let me look at the syllabus so I don't do this thing again where I start talking and then I'm not hitting
Compiling
the points.
information.
Right. So the presentation, you've now spoken to the client, sent them to the questionnaire. They filled it out. You went and visited them. You calculated the cost and you defined the scope of work using all that information. You're ready to send them the bid, the estimate, whatever you want to call it. So, we do all this through email. There's a paper trail. You could bring them these things just printed out, but I like to have a record of all this interaction. Compiling the information. So you have your scope of work letter and your breakdown of cost, and then you may have some accompanying drawings and stuff like that. So you'll see here, this is a job that we bid. And I'll open these up in a second. Let me see where this is at. What to include. So you have right here. This was a job that we bid through a designer. So this is the full shebang. Have stealing. This is good because it doesn't have any client information. Steel and glass wine cabinet, credenza, and a mirror wall. So here's our breakdown of cost. And here's our scope work letter. Design, fabricate, and install / deliver a steel and glass wine cabinet, credenza, and grid wall with antique mirror. All work to be completed for the sum of. And then you see here, we gave them different options because they weren't sure. We weren't sure if they were going to go for the whole shebang. So they have the full Monty right here. They have the wall with no mirror by other, just the wine cabinet and the credenza, and just the wine cabinet. Notes: wine cabinet to be built with 2x2 and 1x2 welded steel, 3/8 inch tempered glass panels and shelf. Panels attached with matte black clips for glass. Model CRL Z910MBL. Getting real specific.
That's right.
The clips provide a 23 30-second gap on 4 sides of the glass. Wine bottle holders to be made from wood species to match credenza. TBD. 3/8 inch tempered glass doors with steel backplate for hardware. Hinges TBD. Finished hardware allowance of $150 per location is included. Credenza casework to be 3/4 inch birch veneer ply with clear finished interiors. Back panels to be 1/2 inch of the same. All joints to be dadoed, glued, and screwed. Full overlaid doors with 1 active panel for bev cooler. Doors to be solid slab construction with battens on back to retain flatness. Full 1 inch thickness. Species TBD. All door hinges to be Bloom European style 95-degree for thick door. Finished hardware is not included. That's one of those good NICs where you talked about it with the designer, but you don't want it to come back to bite you in the ass, so you put it there. Grid wall to be built from. You guys get the point. I'm not going to read this whole thing out. But here you see I get as specific as mirror to be provided by Classic Antique Mirror, Chattanooga, Tennessee, 9 styles available. That's where I got the quote for the glass. So that's what I'm putting in there because I don't want them to say, oh, well, can we actually get it from these people or we don't like the glass, whatever.
We could do it, but we're going to change. It could have an impact on the price. So we want to be able to do that.
Something I do here, you see on the terms of payment. I didn't do it on this because it was so far out and the timeline is still unknown. We got this job. Timeline is still unknown. So what I'll put is 10% upon commission and I'll put a date. Like if I send this out on a Monday, I might put that it's Friday. 75%, and I'll put the date and the amount. So I'll take whatever the number is up here, and I'll say, all right, on September 1st, you owe us this number, and then balance due upon completion, and I'll put that number in there as well. So that's the scope of work. Now you see here, I have these other 3 folders. So this is the folder that I'm sending them, is this entire thing right here. So we have the screen caps. This is what we're building. We have the glass wine cabinet here, glass and steel, the credenza, and the mirror wall. And this is all going to the client so they can look over all this information. And is there ever a circumstance where you let the customer purchase their own hardware, pulls, knobs, and you install, or if they have their own customer? Absolutely. Things like that's not a real moneymaker for us. So if they want to buy it and we put it in, that's fine. We've had situations where we don't do it at all.
Yeah.
Are the drawings you're taking to the presentation a 3D design drawing, not full shop drawings? If so, how much time is involved to do design drawings? We don't do shop drawings, Jerry. These are our shop drawings. We work just off the 3D drawings. We pull our dimensions there. So you get the picture. These are the grid walls with the mirrors. Assuming shop drawings don't start until you have the 10%. Yeah, I mean, we don't get that specific until these are more aesthetics with hard dimensions and stuff, and then we start pulling out the required dimensions to build
Those will be all exterior, but we'll have given thought to how these things are going to be built.
Absolutely, because that goes into pricing.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's your mirror wall, your wine, and your credenza. Then what I also include are mirror swatches. So these are the 9 options that they have. Close-ups, wide shots. So there's no questions. Glass clips. These are what we're using for the glass. So a packet like this was so big that I couldn't even send it through a regular email because even with it compressed. So you want to be as thorough as you possibly can. Now writing the email, this is a place for you, again, to use your customer service skills and to, impart upon the client, give them faith in you and the job, and that you're excited to work with them, that it's an exciting job, and
be personable.
Yeah, just schmooze them up a little bit. Don't sound fake, but you have to. I think a lot of people in this industry are lacking on the service, the customer service area, which is somewhere where because of where we come from in terms of previous work, it's a strong point for us. So
yeah, there was no where we both came from. You might think no, but you never tell the client.
Right? Yeah, you never tell the client no.
Say, hang on a sec, let me check on that.
Yeah. So you want to write them a nice email. I like to mention things in the email that may be in these documents already, but that you want to reinforce because some people might not read these things as thoroughly as you would hope. So then you send it off, and I have here the waiting game. So now I always say off into the ether. You send this email out, and you cross your fingers, and you hope that they get back to you and that they want to do the job. But you don't want to hound these people. So let's see, I don't have to share the screen anymore. You don't want to hound these people. So you kind of just have to. Oh, look at that! I get it real small. you kind of just have to wait.
Yeah, because they're getting other prices.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Other people might not be as quick about getting the things to them.
And you don't want to look thirsty, as the kids call it these days, I guess. You don't want them to think that you I don't know if need the job is the right way to put it, but you don't want to look what am I trying to say here?
You don't want to be begging for the work.
Right. So just let it lie.
Yeah.
I would say wait 2 weeks without hearing back before you start, hey, did you get my email? Just checking if everything's okay. Sometimes it's better to just let them kind of cook a little bit on it. We've had clients who got back to us a month later and said, all right, everything looks good. Let's go ahead.
Let's start on Tuesday.
Yeah, and we're like, where the fuck have you been? Like, so I think you can turn people off by sort of hounding them. So it's not a good idea to really get on people and say, well, can you get back to me? What's the deal? Are we doing this? Just you did your due diligence. You did the work. You put it out there. Yeah. Just give them some time and wait for them to get back to you.
Some people communicate in spurts too, right? I mean, we
have
people,
clients who, they
disappear for a month, then they'll send you 3 texts at 9:30, 10:30 at night.
I had clients who we send them pictures of something that we're working on and no response for like a week. And I'm like, oh God, I'm like, they hate it. So then I text them, they're like, oh my God, we love it so much. You guys are the best to work with. And I'm like, what the hell? So don't try and you can't always understand the way people communicate or have a lack of communication. That brings us to the question that we talked about before. Can you do it cheaper? So you massaged your numbers, you got it to a place that you were comfortable with, and now they want you to do it for less. Let's say you told them it was $15,000 and they say, can you do it for $13,000? So you got a concrete $2,000 less. What are you going to say?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, something along the lines of this is, it's all based on time and materials. We can reduce the price, but we're going to have to alter the scope of work to reflect that.
Yeah. So you never want to just give away your work for less than what you quoted it for. It's just not a good business move, I think, because this client now has this expectation that, well, Jeff and Rob will just give you a discount if you bitch and moan.
Well, why are we charging me $15,000 if I can get it for $13,000? Well, you're ripping me off,
right? Which is that's a client's point of view where we'll never get enough money for what we make. So really, I should be charging you $25,000, and you're lucky that we're only charging you $15,000. But yeah, you can't lower the price without making up for it somewhere on the job.
Typically, they don't really know where we've placed our values and things like that. So let's say Jeff and I know where we can absorb some of this money and reduce the cost. Say, if we go to no drawers and maybe simplify this door style, we can take $2,000 off the job. Most of the time, they want to go with the original price when that happens, don't they?
Yeah.
Because everybody feels like they can just, offer us less for some reason.
Yeah. And that's not to say that we haven't had those situations where we have just bit the bullet and done it. I don't know why Apple does this where it just pops up your email. We have had times where we bit the bullet and people have said, well, my budget is $10,000. Can you do it for 10? And we're just like, well, you know what? We got a hole in the schedule. We'll do it for 10 if it was something close. So,
usually it's not knocking off like $2,000 off of a $15,000 job.
No, because that's a significant portion. But so don't go cheaper without making some sort of concession on the design, the material. You wanted walnut? Well, we could do a
cherry,
right? Sapele.
Yeah.
You want to cut your material cost in half. So that's a good way. something like slides, going to side mounts, that I wouldn't do personally, because it's such a small savings, and to me it's not worth it for the functionality. But
right, we don't want to diminish what we're putting out.
Right,
we still got to put our name on it.
Yeah, cherry's just as beautiful as walnut's, just cheaper.
Right.
Maybe a finish change, something like that. They wanted Rubio, but you could do tung oil, and even that's not really a big savings.
No, you only wind up saving like $100 or $200,
and then tung oil's more labor.
Yeah. So
then we come to the last part, scheduling and payment. So
payment's my favorite part.
Yeah, they get back to you. They said, yeah, hey, everything looks great. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
So you have on your thing already that you need 10%. So you may have missed it, but when you cover the tooling and fastener cost, that a percentage with a cap, or is it fixed cost? That's just fixed.
Yeah.
And it fixed but variable.
Yeah.
150 is the base rate, and then it goes up from there. If it's a job where we need a specific piece of tooling, we'll add it in there. We need a shaper cutter.
What if we were doing a bunch of teak or something like that? We'd want to replace all the blades.
Yeah.
After the job,
right? So yeah, it's variable. Scheduling and payment, yeah. So you want to take your deposit, and then you get them on the date get them a date on the schedule, and then it's all spelled out in the scope of work as to when you're getting paid. So you go from there, and you get the job on the schedule.
Yeah, and the QuickBooks thing. Tell them about the QuickBooks thing.
Oh yeah, so ways to accept payment. Obviously they can mail you a check. QuickBooks, we do invoicing through QuickBooks, so I can send an invoice to a client, and they can just pay either through credit card or through a wire transfer. Yeah, and it just goes direct to our bank account.
We do have one lady that brings us a big envelope of cash.
Yeah. I don't know what they're into, but
we don't ask.
Yeah.
Big thick envelopes.
Yeah. They're into some a little unsavory, I think, but we're not asking any questions. So yeah, I mean that brings us to the end of what we had planned on talking about. I don't know if anyone has any additional questions.
Yeah, let's see if open up the floor.
Yeah. Let's see here. You keep an eye on the chat. I gotta go take a leak.
All right. Where is it? Oh, I'm gonna have to squint. See this now.
Squint. That's big.
All right. We'll hang out here for probably just vending machine owners live out. Somehow, if you saw their house, I don't know. I guess it could be a lucrative business. It's they have a lot of vending machines. Then I would say, and I don't know any vending machines that are taking hundreds. Yeah. It's always good. So sometimes Jeff and I will pay ourselves in cash because we start getting all this cash laying around. My wife says, "What are you doing with all this money?" Because typically Jeff and we walk around with about $3 in our pockets between us. I was saying that. Andrew said they're probably just vending machine owners. I said I didn't know of any vending machines. It took hundreds.
Oh.
That was a good guess, though.
Oh, no. Thank you, Jerry. Any chance of... No chance of getting Rich back for a guest spot. Can you explain the capital improvement? Yeah, so I guess each state has their own sort of stance on this. Let me see if I think I have the form in here somewhere. Might be in...
Well, in New Jersey, if something becomes a permanent fixture in someone's home, they don't have to pay tax on that.
Right, yeah, and there's certain stipulations to that, like flooring doesn't count, and you'll have to look it up by your state, but A capital improvement is something that's a permanent fixture in a house that's basically raising the value of it, and the tax on the sales tax is waivable. Is that a word?
Yeah, I think so, because I think they're presuming that the locality is going to pick that up in
Tax revenue.
the
property
the
tax.
property tax.
Right.
Yeah, because
So they're assuming that your home is going to get reassessed at a higher value, and that it's going to basically pass through there.
yeah,
I think it's an incentive for people to
invest in their homes.
Right.
Yeah,
and you just give the form to the client, they fill it out, and you both keep a copy for your records, and that's it.
and if you do any liturgical work, like when you work for the church, they don't pay tax.
Yep.
I think that's a separate category, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There may be a form for that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll give it another couple minutes here, see if anybody else has any questions. But we're glad you guys joined us, and we hope you got some good info, and that the formatting and execution wasn't too bad.
No, I think what we're doing is pretty flexible, and could be manipulated to suit somebody who's making cutting boards to somebody who's doing similar to us, making furniture or
I mean, and this could translate to all kinds of industries, where
that's true.
You're doing commission work. Well, guys, 3:00. We're gonna sign off for now. We're gonna shoot the podcast, and then we'll see you guys in the morning for the bonus show. We'll have it uploaded.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Cool.